here's some of the pictures of just students studying abroad on various trips. I don't exactly know how to explain them, but you can see everybody smiling, which is a great thing. We love smiles. So students abroad, it goes from academics, service, travel, research, and more, and we'll go over all of that. Oh wait, I don't know how to change the slide. Oh boy.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple reasons to study abroad. Obviously, to learn and explore new cultures, travel the world, learn a new language, to set that station to set you apart from other employers, to set you apart from other students. It's just kind of a great thing that not everybody has an opportunity to do. So it's really cool that you get to do that. You also can grow your professional and financial potential. So you grow your network of employers and just contacts in general that you could probably always count on for the future. Again, with the professional potential, it's also growing your global network.
Yeah. All right. So about education abroad. So we are the Office of Global Affairs. It's the Puritan House, which is across from the library. So we have over 900 students who participate, and that's, students going abroad, students coming from abroad. So, there's a lot of people who do it, which is really great. There's over 70 countries that you can choose from. So, if really anywhere you want to go in the world, we probably have that. And then programs vary from 1 week to 1 year, which is great because, if you have scheduling conflicts, you can kind of choose, like maybe you can only go for a week, maybe you can only go for a semester. You can really choose from that. And then you get to earn course credits. So you're going to work with your advisor to make sure that you're meeting your requirements for your major. It's not going to affect like holding you back or anything like that. So that's really good. You're going to be able to transfer those credits. So we really work with you through all that stuff.
There's some common concerns. I'm just going to click through them and then we can talk about them. So money's always an issue in terms of, can I afford this? How much does it cost? Depending on the college that you're in, there's also scholarships that are often found within the specific colleges. I know since you mentioned that you went on you're planning to go on a Chambers trip through the Chambers College of Business. I know they usually have scholarships. If you're in Everly, there's also scholarships through that. Also the time, like Emily mentioned, we have a range of time frames for studying abroad from 1 week to a whole semester to a full year. So the time within your schedule, depending on the program you're in, if it's a little bit more tight, we still have options for you to be able to study abroad and stay on track with graduating. Housing is also sometimes a concern, where you are going to stay. We also have a couple of different ranges, from a homestay program, depending on the program itself, to also living in a dormitory with that partner university or finding your own apartment within that country. And sometimes that is mainly more on your end of finding that housing, but most partner universities have resources to help you find housing. You're not just like left on the street struggling. Also, culture shock is a big thing. Traveling from the US in I would say your comfortable situations, going to a new country, culture shock is also a big, I wouldn't call it an issue. It is just a change. Our office has resources. We talk with students before they leave about the possibility of culture shock and actually how to help it. And sometimes culture shock can also be homesickness. And there's just a lot of different resources that could be used to support you so you're not as shocked. And actually you can learn from the shock because sometimes culture shock is the best way to learn. Also language barriers. A lot of our partner universities have English speaking classes, so you're not going to be thrown into a partner university that doesn't speak English in the country itself, but the classes and education that you will get oftentimes are supported with English classes and also classes of the language of the country. So you're actually able to learn the language better. Major in academic needs, as Emily mentioned, you work with your advisor. The office works with your, just to make sure you're on track with getting the credits so you don't come back with too many fall through credits. And also the safety. For the safety itself, we have a risk manager always working, and kind of always managing what countries are safe to go for students. And also, before any trip, there's always a meeting with other students that will be going on your trip as well to go over kind of the countries. I don't have the right word. But if it's a more conservative country, they'll just touch on maybe
The traditions of the country and the culture of the country. Yeah.
exactly. Thank you. But so every program that we have, we usually go over a basis of to make sure all students are safe. And I mean, similar to last spring, when coronavirus kind of hit the US, I'll say, the risk manager was on it and definitely kept all of our students safe, gave them options to resources to come home if they wanted to, and all of that. So everybody's kind of always monitoring your safety. So there's no really reason to worry.
Yeah. Also, oh wait, real quick.
Oh yeah, no problem. Sorry. Went a little fast.
Just to add a little bit of personal experience. I mean, I know a lot of people worry about culture shock. I mean, you've studied abroad, so you know a little bit about that. But I think really just like a way to deal with that as well is getting involved. I mean, a lot of these things, language barriers, culture shock, it's going to be challenging sometimes at first. I know like the first month I was there was a lot of stuff to get used to, how to get around, how to, talk to the people. Because like, when I was in Ireland, I didn't have a language barrier, but some of the older people in Ireland, their accent's so thick that you really can't understand them. So, um, there's definitely like getting involved. I mean, I was so busy that I didn't have time to be homesick. I didn't really even get homesick until the end of my trip, but I was like, man, I've been away from home for like 6 months. I really miss my parents. So, and again, we're gonna work through all this stuff with you. We're gonna prepare you for all of that. But when you get over there, just like taking each day one day at a time and remembering like, hey, if I struggle today, that's okay, because like it's gonna be worth it. I'm gonna learn a lot. So
That was a great input.
yeah. Okay, so how to apply. So am I able to, oh, you're sharing your screen. But if you go on to our educationabroad.wvu.edu, what I usually do is I go to Google and just type in WVU study abroad, and that comes up as well. So you're going to go onto that website. In the top right hand corner, there's going to be a couple tabs. And so one's going to say schedule an appointment, one's going to say program options, your login. So what you can do is you can look for different programs. You can narrow it down by major or by semester or by region. So there's really a way to like pick what you want to look at. And then you can schedule an appointment with us. So we'll walk you through the process, how to apply, like all the paperwork you need, that type of stuff. And then you're also going to meet with your academic advisor once you've picked a place to find out, hey, what semester can I go? Like I was, a social work student. So I found out if I had gone later than sophomore year, I would have been behind an entire year. So I had to go sophomore year. That's all good. And that's the thing is if the earlier you can find that out. I mean, I asked my advisor really early, hey, what are my options, And then if you can't do a semester, again, like we said, you can always do a, winter break, summer break, something like that. So then you're going to discuss what you need with your academic advisor, find out what classes you have to take or scheduling your, schedule for here so that you can take the classes you need before you go. And then, of course, financial aid. And then, the school, once that process goes through, the school abroad will also contact you from there. It sounds a lot, but it's really not too complicated. We work with you through every step of the way. There's always someone to help you. I was in the study abroad office, and Amanda knows this, like every single day, asking questions. Yeah.
Another thing is you're gonna have probably, even if you come in with you have like no idea. Emily and I are kind of the first advisors, I call them, and then you move to Shelby and Megan, who will help you with the more in-depth process. But students who come in with just like an idea of wanting to study abroad, we can help gauge your interest and guide you to your most ideal path, hopefully. Like we talked about, there's a couple of different types of programs. There's the exchange programs, which are most common. These are working with partner universities. And those are WVU. I mean, you get WVU credits through the transient credits, but you'll actually be at the partner university. We also have short-term faculty-led programs. These are the spring break, summer, winter programs because they are WVU faculty-led. We also have international internships, which Amanda works with very closely. Those are, well, I think there's some semester, but a lot of internships are through summer, correct?
Yes.
We also
8
have
weeks.
international summer schools with partner institutions. Summer schools range from a variety of majors. Oftentimes I see the summer schools, what we call them, they're language-based, but that is not limited to just language-based summer schools. We also have affiliated providers. These affiliated providers are really interesting because WVU can't have a partner with everybody, but working with affiliated providers, it takes our small group of 70 schools and brings that range to 700 schools. Those are not direct numbers, but it just widens the circle even more. So if we don't have a direct partnership with them, we usually have a partnership somehow we can get you to that school or that country that you were hoping to. We also have an appeal to participate in non-WVU programs. So if you find a program that we really do not have a connection with in any way, that does not mean that it is like out of range to go. All it is filling out some forms before you study abroad to make sure the credits will transfer, to make sure the credits and classes that you're taking are correct and are in line with your majors or minors. And it can get approved, and then that program itself can become a program that you can go on, and again, you get course credit for. It's kind of really cool. So you essentially have the entire world at your hands as long as you follow the right processes.
And these are just each of the different.
Yeah, this is just a little bit more about the exchange program. These usually range from semester to year abroads. What's interesting and why they're some of the most popular programs that WVU students choose is because since it is a partner exchange, your WVU tuitions and fees are your WVU tuitions and fees at that partner university as well. We have 50 plus locations as well. The coursework is often taught in English, unless you're taking one of their language classes. All of your credits will transfer back to WVU, which is ideal always. And this is usually the most cost-effective way to study abroad, since it is your WVU tuitions and fees you're paying. The only thing that's not really included is the housing. And this is usually what I found is from doing my own research and talking to other people in the office that if a WVU student is going to a European country, the housing is usually comparable to WVU housing. Personally, for me, I went to South America and the housing actually was a little bit lower. So my overall cost was a little bit lower than my normal Morgantown tuition and fees, which is also something really cool that could happen. But yeah, that is that one.
One nice thing about going abroad is you never know what you're gonna get. So like when I was in Ireland, well, okay, my living situation, like the room was a closet and we had no heat because it was too expensive. But on the upside, the food there was really cheap. Like especially in Europe, a lot of countries, groceries there, like I was only spending maybe like $20 a week on groceries, whereas here I spend like 30, 35 because it's so expensive here. So that is one nice thing.
We also have short-term faculty-led programs. Some of them, as you know, with the China business, the Chambers College of Business trip to China, excuse me, that runs often. That is like an annual trip usually. So you can pretty much count on that one. But some of these short-term faculty-led trips do vary per year, depending on what faculty member wants to go where and what they would like to do with their trips, which is really interesting, which you can get a range. The WV faculty teaches these courses. So when we were talking about professional connections beforehand, this is a really good way to actually create a one-on-one personal connection with a professor for future letters of recommendation, and just kind of have a mentor in the future, since you will be at WVU continuing past these programs. The tuition is waived for these course credits. You're paying essentially for the trip itself. Since they are short term, the classes are a little bit, you're not at a full semester, so you're not paying full semester tuition. All of the coursework, again, applies to your major requirements, similar to on-campus coursework. Again, they vary from 1 week to 1 semester, 1 to 12 credits. And like I said, develop professional relationships with professors, not only with users, sometimes the trips itself have connections with other people in that field. I know there's a medical brigade in Honduras, so you will be working with other medical professionals in that field. I know, Roma, I don't think you're a medical field right now, but when the Chamber's College of Business trip to China, you will also be working with business people from that region, which is a great way to just grow your professional field as well.
Yeah.
Internships are also a great way. Emily, if you want to talk about this one.
No, I'll let you do. I think you know more about this than me.
Okay. Well, we have Amanda in this meeting, and she works very closely with internships.
Yeah, go ahead, Amanda.
Amanda, please go ahead.
I'm actually doing an internship session right after this one, so you're welcome to come to that link if you would like as well. It's on our page. But the international internships are something really unique. I think probably they're one of the greatest things, simply because almost all majors have some sort of global aspect, especially business. So we have multiple locations. We have 9 different locations for this summer. Hopefully that will be running. And then every summer, we at least have 4 to 5 different locations. You can gain work and study abroad experience. So not only are you getting that course credit, which will help you graduate, you'll also get that work experience that you can put on your resume, which not only do you get that stay abroad, like, oh, I went to international, I also worked internationally. So you have that, I've worked in an office abroad, I know how the culture is a little bit different, working conditions, things like that. For instance, in Spain, it's a relaxed business sense. In US, you think business, go, 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 go. But in Spain, they do take, the afternoons off, and they have everything shuts down sometimes from 2 to 5, I think it is. I'm not quite sure on the times there, but even most businesses will shut down. You can find placements that match your future career goals. So what they do is they'll take your interview and they'll really get to know you and your career goals and what you're looking for in an internship. It'll improve your international network. We've had students that went over as juniors and, were offered jobs when they graduate just from the connections that they made. These are 8 weeks in length with City Housing, and they are 6 WVU internship credits. So I personally think they are an awesome mixture of a study abroad plus that work experience.
Is there options for a paid internship and unpaid internships?
Unfortunately not. It is all unpaid. But we did have a situation with one of our providers that they were doing an unpaid internship. And then after that ended, and this was an international remote internship as well, since of COVID. But after that internship ended, they were offered a paid virtual internship as well. So the possibilities really are there for that, but this specific one is unpaid.
Are there any funding options that WVU provides for these internships?
Yes. So because they are 6 credits in the summer, that opens up all the financial aid. So if you're a Pell Grant recipient, that will help. The Gilman Scholarship. And if you can't find any scholarships, which I know the Chambers College does have some funding, I don't know if they were only doing theirs. I know 2 years ago, they were only doing specific business programs like the trip to China and India. But if you can't find any besides loans and things, you can apply the loans, and you can also do the 3-month payment plan, which doesn't have any interest with it. It's like a $35 upfront fee, and then it'll break that fee up into 3-month payments.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Amanda.
You're welcome.
As we talked about the international summer schools, I'm going to admit Dana. International summer schools are like summer institutes offered by our exchange partner schools as well. They integrate a diverse classroom setting abroad, which kind of means like on location learning as well as in classroom learning, which is kind of a nice way to do it. They vary in length and credit hours since it is a summer program. The billing and fees similar to our summer exchange, just our summer faculty-led programs, they vary as well. And depending on the program itself, they could include summer re-up and just add to your list of things when you're out of college. As we were talking about affiliated providers, they just open the doors to so many more programs. The costs and fees are usually different than our WVU tuitions and fees since they are through the affiliated program. But they usually include different programming needs and interests. They often include excursions within the country. Financial aid may be a little bit more limited due to the fact that it is an affiliated provider, but some providers actually have their own scholarships I think you can apply for. Also, Google has, I don't know, there's so many options to just kind of find financial aid, although it might not be directly through WVU, but it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, just something to add on that as well. The one other really good thing about affiliate providers is if you're worried about studying abroad, like if you do exchange, you're kind of over there by yourself. But with affiliate providers, they usually have someone on the ground over there for you. So like if something happens, if there's an emergency, you have someone to go to in person that can help you. And then the other nice thing is they usually have like orientation trips. They have just trips in general that it's a whole group of people with that program. So you kind of meet all those people the first day. You get to go on trips with them, stuff like that. So it is really kind of nice to have that extra support. But like Maria was saying, like it's definitely something to think about because sometimes it is a little bit more expensive with affiliate providers. But like she said, they offer their own scholarships. There's definitely ways to pay for it. And if we don't have a program that you really like but they do, then that's a great option.
Again, we talked about the appeal to participate in non-WVU programs. I don't want to call this, I guess it is kind of like when all else fails. We have so many options through WVU and our affiliated providers that this is kind of just in case you find a place that we don't have connected to us in any way. But again, as we were talking about safety, it has to be approved by the Director of Education Abroad, the risk manager. The courses have to be approved. So it is a little bit more of a process that you can't really just apply to. There's a lot of things that have to go more into this one. It may be necessary to meet scholarship or other program requirements. Accreditation, like I said, must be verified before it can just be automatically transferred back. And additional transcript fees may be required. That's just to say transcript fees are always required usually, but you never know with how many you might need through this process. Just something to think about. Here are our social medias. Really fun to follow, really fun to just see everybody's trips. We usually post about students who have gone abroad, their stories. Obviously, it's a little bit slow this semester, but it is a lot of fun to see and like just see ideas about what people do and where they go.
Real quick, Maria,
Yes.
do you want me to pull up the other PowerPoint slide because that has stuff about COVID and virtual abroad?
Yes, I didn't realize that. I didn't have the newest one. Okay, sorry.
No,
Yeah, that would be great, Emily. Thanks.
All right, hey, let me just pull that up real quick.
And this is our office and our email and our phone number. Currently, everybody's working virtually right now. So the office itself, we hope you can go back to eventually. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, any concerns, you can call our office. most likely, I think, leave a voicemail, and then it gets forwarded out and somebody can respond to it in a timely fashion. And somebody's usually monitoring the email itself to find you the correct answer that you need.
Let me just tag on share screen.
And I'm going to stop my share and you can share.
Okay, share. So this is also something to consider if you study abroad. We have a Global Mountaineers certificate. And maybe Amanda, you can chime in. Do you know about do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I can talk about this one. So this program helps to develop cross-cultural competencies and teaches students to articulate the value of their experience as it contributes to their future plans in a globalized workforce. So we have a lot of students that go abroad and they come back and they're like, my study abroad was life-changing. It was epic. It was the greatest thing I've ever done. You know, all these buzzwords. And those are great. That's what we want. But we also need to be able to really critically think about what we learned abroad and put that on a resume, right? That's our main goal. These are 2 1-credit global competency courses and then 6 core component credits. So some of these you may already have taken or will take because of your major. So for instance, if you, the culture course that, well, the marketing course, I think it was a marketing for the business in China, would probably work for that since it is a global studies course. And then if you have a language, those 6 foreign language credits are already part of that certificate as well. And then of course, a study abroad, you've already completed one, Roma, so that you're already 1 step ahead on that one. But the 1-credit global competency courses, the first one is kind of an introduction. It's meant to be taken before you go abroad, but it doesn't necessarily have to be taken. You can take these in the same time or you know, take one, study abroad, and then take the other. And then the second one is kind of a cumulative experience of what you've learned, how you've grown from your time abroad, things like that.
That's good. So wait, is it working? Okay. So study abroad COVID. Obviously, right now, a lot of stuff is up in the air. There's a lot of questions about what's going to be affected, how things are going to go. So obviously, our spring study abroad is canceled. But at this point, it's too late to fly anyway, so it doesn't really affect you guys. So of course, WVU, can't even say the name right. Put your health and safety first. We are monitoring this really closely. We have risk managers abroad that are looking at different countries, finding out, is it safe? What are the COVID numbers? All that type of stuff. So you can plan ahead, but I would be flexible. If you're planning on staying abroad this summer or this fall, we hope it's still happening. It's not canceled yet, but you know, just be flexible. If you plan it and it doesn't happen, you know, have a backup plan. Make sure that you can still take classes in your semester here. So, and of course, if you apply for a study abroad, you get everything set up and we cancel it, you're going to get a full refund for that. The only thing I would warn is if you, for example, are going to Italy and you have to get your own apartment, not through us, that might be the only case where you have to like try work to get your refund for your, you know, housing. But other than that, we will work with you through that. And we do have health insurance, like travel health insurance for all students, and emergency assistance. So they give you a card and there's an emergency number on there. If something happens, if you do go abroad and let's say COVID goes up again, you know, you can call that number and say, hey, I'm trapped here or anything like that. But then there are a lot of virtual opportunities. So some of our virtual opportunities are that like a lot of our international partners, understanding that it's hard to go abroad right now, are facilitating virtual opportunities. So we have online course offerings. So you can take folklore of Ireland online. You can, there's collaboration with student organizations. So they might have Zoom meetings, virtual internships, which is a really great one. And then of course we do have the Global Campus Read, which is 1 credit online. You read and discuss the campus read. I'm not sure what it is this year. With students from
Girl Who Smiled Beads.
Oh, that's right. Actually, that's today, isn't it? That's today.
Thursday.
Oh, Thursday.
Thursday, there's a session. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a session Thursday, so if you're interested, contact that email right there, educationabroad@mail.wvu.edu. And the cool thing about that is you're talking about a book, you're analyzing it, and you're getting to do this with people from all over the world. So you get to kind of, open the floor like, hey, how do they process this versus how do we process this? How does culture play a part in how we understand a book? Like we might perceive it one way, they might perceive it another way. So it is really cool. I definitely recommend that. I will be there. Yeah.
I would like to add
Maria will
something
be
for the
there.
virtual.
Yeah. So it's definitely going to be really cool. But as you can see, like there's still a lot of options out there. So feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in any of these. Yeah, and Amanda especially.
Well, I
if you're-
have,
No,
I have
Amanda wants to
something
add
to add.
something.
Oh,
yeah.
so go ahead.
So especially for you, Roma, because you are business, I'm not sure if you guys all know, Dr. Susan Jennings-Lance is doing a virtual study abroad to Bahrain this spring semester. It's a 3-credit course. And what they hope to do is have WVU students here in the course, and then Bahraini students in the course as well. And they're going to work on group projects, and it's talking about culture and gender and business, obviously. And it does meet the requirement for an international business minor, which I guess is a new minor that they've come up with. I'm not sure when that started, but I did hear about that yesterday. So they had the session yesterday, but if you're interested in that, send me an email or send Education Abroad an email, and I can get you that information, because I think it's going to be a really cool event. And they did mention that if you take that course and then when we can travel again, you want to go to Bahrain on that trip, they would create a second course so that you're not taking the same course again, and then you would get credit for that. So that's something really cool I learned yesterday. Yeah, you're welcome.
I did a virtual session with the Royal University for Women in Bahrain with Dr. Lance. We did 2 sessions, but it didn't count as course credit. It just counted as extra credit towards one of my marketing classes, because we worked on a case study for a global marketing campaign.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's doing a full 3-credit course this semester. I cannot remember the CRN. She had it listed, but it sounded really amazing. My son's actually coming to WVU this semester, so I'm trying to squeeze him into that too. I'm like, hey, look at this.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is a great option. And then that's all we have is just connecting, social media, and you can email us if you need anything.